Look, this is not the first problem that we've reported with the delays in snowy hydro. I mean, this is meant to provide a stability and clean, green energy at a reasonable cost. Nothing seems reasonable about it at this point.
Well, I think the cost thing, I think the consumers, to the extent you have renewables, you've got to need firming. You've got to have a night when the sun's not shining, you've got to have it, and you've got to have it on scale. Now, to meet the government's own targets by 2030, AEMO says you're going to need 8 2.0s or their equivalents. That'll take 60 years, not 6. So the concept of this massive change going on in our energy sector needs these massive investments, which will have lots of risk about them. And the fact that, like many others in Europe and elsewhere, the need to have a discussion about nuclear as well needs to get on the table. Just simply dismissing it for no real, for simply saying for ideological reasons rather than rational reasons is madness. So we need to have the discussion. We need to have a discussion about why 2.0 is being delayed so long and why the contractor is performed so poorly. Why is it that the contract now has a cost-plus model to deliver on it? So why you shouldn't be surprised then that costs have gone up. So the whole concept of what's going on in there in this last 18 months needs to be looked at independently.
Yeah.
I'm sure that will happen. But, there are certain issues with it.
Yeah, certainly. And you mentioned nuclear, so let's go down that path. Why is that part of a solution for us here in Australia? And wouldn't it take, again, too long to get up and running?
Well, life's a long time. I mean, nuclear, we went down and got nuclear submarines. We think that's okay to put them in a sub, but it's not okay to put them on the ground. So I don't accept the argument that it's somehow inherently wrong. In the rest of the world, in Europe today, they're really spending a lot of time looking at these package plants. They're looking at how you scale up nuclear. The French are building lots more of it. In Wyoming, in the States, they're using a lot more. So I just don't, you shouldn't rule these things in or out. And I just don't, you cannot have renewables have 100% of the system with 100% reliability at a price point we are today. To say that is just completely wrong.
Sure, but Paul, I look around, up and down the East Coast in particular, and there is rally after rally, community after community protesting against wind farms or vast solar farms in their patch. I mean, if there's that kind of community backlash against wind farms and solar farms, imagine when the government starts to find locations for nuclear sites and waste sites.
So what happens when one of these nuclear subs comes in and parks itself in one of the harbours around the country? We're going to have protests then? We've got to, as a community, we've got to have these debates amongst ourselves in an open, honest, rational way. I'm not saying everyone's going to agree. Change is difficult.
But I'm just talking about the political challenge, Paul. I mean, if there's this community sentiment about wind farms, imagine when it's about nuclear.
Well, I agree with you. It's not going to be easy. But I do think these package plants that are happening in Wyoming in the States, put on the sites where our coal plants are today, would be a massive step forward in the right direction, in my view. And I've had people out from Wyoming. I've spoken to a lot of what's happening in Europe and the States in recent times. It's been don't know why I keep doing it, but my issues are still there. So I try to find out more about it. And we are in such a great position, particularly here in the harbour, to put package plants on the sites, on the sites up here at Bayswater and out of Aurora. And we have sites available in Australia where we have infrastructure. We've had long-standing coal plants built in all the right protections to put the packaged nuclear plants in, and I think that would be a great step in the right direction.
Yeah, we'll see who's politically brave to start pinpointing those locations. I don't know whether it's going to happen this side of an election, Paul. But finally, before I let you go, interesting to note in the ABC's Nemesis documentary, Turnbull did call the snowy hydro one of his most proudest achievements while he was in power. Did he do the right thing by Snowy? Yeah. Where did the stuff-up start occurring?
Well, I'm interested to see, because when I left Snowy 18 months ago, we had an audit and which said the thing was on track and on budget, so something seems to have gone awfully wrong.
What's gone wrong there?
I think I'd love to understand that a little bit more. It seems to be when the political process changed, things started to go awry. Certainly, Bowen didn't want me around, so, maybe
happened
maybe
there
there's something in all that.
Why
I don't
didn't
know.
Bowen like you?
I don't know.
Why doesn't Bowen like you?
Maybe he saw me tied too much to the things I loved and a bit passionate about it and was frank and free. Maybe he saw me, for whatever reason, despite the fact I walked for all sides of politics, maybe he saw me as politically tainted. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I knew well before the government was elected that I'd be in trouble. Yeah. Anyway, he did.
How did you get those? How did you get that memo?
No, it didn't. It's a long story. There was another day I'll talk to you about, but
Okay.
it doesn't really matter. I don't really matter in the scheme of things. I just worry about the fact that this wonderful scheme, like Turnbull, I'm very proud of it. I tell you, I'm incredibly proud of it, and I'm incredibly proud of the people down there who do a great job. And I'm incredibly proud of the mountains, and I'll defend it with every bone in my body, and I'll call out when I think it's wrong. So it's a good thing. So Turnbull's right in that respect, and Turnbull, with all the critics, he worked incredibly hard to bring it to fruition. There's no doubt about that. Malcolm worked phenomenally hard. I've never seen a Prime Minister, I've dealt with a few of them, spend as much time as he did on all parts of this project. So, no, he did. He was very constructive in getting it to the stage it did at the point when, certainly I left 18 months ago, it was in great shape.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll try and find out what happened there, Paul. Good to finally have you on the show. We'll talk again.
Sure will, Laura. Talk soon. Bye.